Welcome to Clean Cut Conversations, the podcast for exceptional Southern Black men. Join us as we delve into vital topics, including mental health, relationships, finance, self-care, and entrepreneurship. Welcome to Clean Cut Conversations, the podcast for exceptional Southern Black men. I'm your host, Josh Lovett, with my co-host,
Royce Massengill, baby.
And today, we will be discussing 4 topics: creative pursuits and special effects and makeup, community support through Apex, and at the same time, entrepreneurship in jewelry, and the importance of multicultural engagement within your community. But today we have a special guest, Mr. Marcus Lucas. You know, he's an entrepreneur himself. But you know what? I don't want to explain his story. Let's just go ahead and introduce him. Go ahead, man. What's up, Mr. Marcus?
What's good?
How you doing?
First of all, that name, Marcus, that sounds like one of them, like before you turn into the superhero, you got that you got that name first, you know what I'm saying?
Marcus
Lucas.
Dun-dun.
Yeah. How's it going, brother?
Doing great. Thank you guys for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
I'm big.
So
Nice. So let me ask you, do you have any upcoming projects that you would like to share with our audience members?
sure. Well, I have one movie that I'm working on right now
Okay.
that I'm filming, but I don't think they allow me to say the name of it just yet.
Don't do that. Don't
And,
do that.
and I have another one that will come out at the end of the year. Well, the red carpet will be at the end of the year. They may
Okay.
release it at the beginning of the following year to the public. But the red carpet, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name of that one yet, but I'm a little excited about it because it is it's the largest role that I've had in any film. And so I'm excited about that. And there's a little action to it. So,
Okay.
get into do a little bit of action, and also I play a Dominican in it, and I have an accent the entire movie, which Spanish is my other language anyway.
Nice.
My mom was like, "Can you hold your accent that long?" I was like, "Have you ever seen me at a club?"
Yeah.
I was like,
Hold on.
"Yes, I can."
So we need to bring you to the club,
Yes,
the Latin club. I'm gonna keep that in mind.
Right?
Yeah.
Hold on, so you said action, so you got some little fight scenes? You got some, you know what I mean?
I didn't do the fighting. I was a part of the chase scenes,
Okay.
and I was shot at a few times.
That's a bet,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Ain't nothing like being shot at the movies, man.
Getting paid to get shot at.
Yeah, exactly. That's different. So let me ask you something. So how long have you been in the entertainment scene?
I think I was dramatic when I was born. So,
I like that response.
So, my mom says, I came 12 days late.
Okay.
So I made an entrance into the world on my own time,
Gotcha.
which is typical red carpet people.
Yeah.
And I just started performing. My goal as a kid was to actually be in the circus because I love performance. I have a background in gymnastics as well.
I read about that.
And so that was my goal. In fact, if I was not here today, I would be at the circus school in Nashville. And it was going to be my first day going to circus school because I was like, you know what, let's not let go of that dream. So I was still going to pursue that as well. And then I have a meeting with another circus organization coming up in a couple of weeks. So that was the goal. And then from there, from being in the circus, it just snowballed into acting, singing, just anything that was entertainment related. And so I've always been in that field of entertaining and making sure that people had a good time and just enjoying it.
So you should click a thespian then too. Like I got a minor in stage performance.
Oh yeah,
HBCU.
yeah.
Okay, so I was looking. I was like, okay, man, this is what. So did you grow up like watching the Ringling Brothers and all that? Did you ever go to any of their?
I did that, and then what I did was in elementary school, I was the daredevil. And my teacher came to me and she was like, "Can you please stop?" Because she said the other kids are trying to do what you do.
Yeah.
And we had already had somebody had a concussion. There was 2 arms that were broken, a collarbone.
What were you doing, man?
I would go to the circus, watch what they did, and we had a set of uneven bars. It was like a high, a middle, and a low. And they're in a row. And then across from that was the monkey bars. So what I would do, I was climb up on the middle uneven bar and I would jump from standing on top of it through the air, catch onto the monkey bars, swing, and then let go, and then catch onto the other side of the monkey bars.
Yeah.
I had it.
Yeah.
But not, everybody else didn't.
Yeah, then I would do flips off of the balance beam that they had at school too. And she was just like, they're trying to copy you. I need for you to stop.
Oh yeah, he was trending in school
already.
Yeah.
He was already a leader.
Yeah, right. TikTok him. I wish we had that back in the
crazy.
day, man.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We would have been big already.
Oh yeah.
So let me ask you, like, so we know a little bit about your background, but let me ask you, who has been the most inspirational person throughout your journey?
In different phases of my life, I've had different people who inspired me. Depending on what I was doing, and I've done a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
In the performance world, my number one inspiration has been Jackie Chan, just because no matter how old he gets,
Right.
he still does the same stuff.
Yeah.
Now, if you ask Jackie, he'll say, well, I'm slowing down, or I don't quite do this trick anymore, but his level of being able to do physical activity and fight and do his own stunts and whatnot at that age, like it's still what he does is incredible. So that's, I don't too much like, become like a super fan over too many celebrities once you're sitting in the room with me, and especially if I'm working with you, we're coworkers. But if Jackie Chan walked in the room, I might faint, I might pass out,
It's crazy because compared to Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, he almost allows you to beat up yourself. He never. I'm not saying that he hits you straight on, but he'll take a plate that you're eating and you're holding a plate and hit it and you hit yourself.
Yeah.
And you realize it's like, hold on, he never struck me.
Right.
Like he like avoids, but
his offense was his defense.
Yes.
There you go.
He uses whatever is available to him. And makes a weapon out of it. So this is kind of transitioning a little bit, but I'm going to bring it back around. I used to be a school teacher. And as things got crazy and school shootings used to happen, I used to have the same speech every first day of school. I was like, I don't care how much beef we have. If you don't like her, she don't like you. You don't like me, I don't like you. If somebody comes in this classroom, we are all one family. I said, and we go Jackie Chan on them, and whatever is in this classroom, I said, that becomes a weapon. I said, and we gonna all get a lick in.
Yeah.
All right. I said, we all get a lick in. I said, that chair, that stapler. I said, your pencil. I said, whatever you see, that's a weapon.
So, okay, man. All right, Mr. Jackie Chan. So were there any like social or geographical factors within your journey that, could have possibly hindered your success?
Well, sure. So there were a couple of things. Number one, I live in Tennessee, and if I wanted to do music, I'm in the right place.
Okay.
As far as acting goes, I can't say that it's a bad location, but growing up as a kid, this was not ideal.
Right.
Right. So it's getting there. There's a movie scene. Almost all but one of the movies that I've done have been here.
Okay.
Believe it or not. And so we're growing in that industry. But back then that was not the situation. So my mom, I remember her, like, I used to be like, oh, you're preventing me from, living out my dreams or whatnot. But she just could not see herself putting me on a plane to go work in California or wherever it was that I wanted to go to. I did travel acting, but I didn't do that until I was a teenager.
Okay.
And it was like a 2-week, and this is it. Okay. It wasn't like, hey, we need you for like 2 months to film this whole episode or whatever, or a movie for 3 months or whatever. So those were some of the factors that made it a little bit more difficult. So I just took what I could and I joined singing groups, sometimes singing/acting groups. And then I did, the stage performances and whatnot. And that gave me the practice that I needed and, to be in front of an audience. And then I transitioned later on into movies.
Okay, let me ask you something. So being in the South and being in Tennessee as a Black actor, was it difficult at times? Because some of the roles, like I've looked at some of the films. I mean, we're transitioning cowboys. And I'm not saying nothing's wrong with that.
Right,
because
right.
Idris Elba, he was a concrete cowboy. I saw that. But like, did you find any interest in any roles that was presented towards you or presented to you, excuse me, because when you went to California, you're in a more diverse location. So you have different topics, different assessments, different realities, different perspectives. But when you're here, do you feel like everything is kind of closed-minded?
Typecasted.
So yes, I remember yes and no. I can say that. Well, let me just go and say yes. But I remember there was one time I got a role. I was so excited. I killed that audition. I mean, I killed that audition.
Yeah.
And it was Winnie the Pooh. And it was I was, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah.
I got the role. And as not Tigger, the mule. I forget his name.
Eeyore?
Eeyore. Yes,
okay.
Eeyore. I got the role as Eeyore.
Yeah.
My mom would not let me have that. Because she said in too many films and movies, Black people have played like lazy, slow talking roles. And she was like, I know you did good in the audition. She said, but I'm taking you out and I will not allow you to have that. Now, another time I did get a good principal role. I was going to be the prince in Cinderella. But I got a B in math, and my mom's a math teacher. She was like, "You need an A." So,
wow.
So she would not let me have that role because I got a B, and she was like, "You got to get up to an A." I did Grease, and what was crazy was when I did Grease, that was like the first time that people really, really recognized me as an actor.
Gotcha.
I was in high school. I was a sophomore, and I had never had so much attention from the females that I wanted attention from.
Right.
And all my life. And I played in Italian, which is not Black, but it's still kind of a minority role.
It is.
And so that just opened up a lot of doors for me. And I remember the director, she told me, she said, I would have made you the lead role. She said, if I would have made you the lead role, the opposite lead role was a female and she was white. And she said, I don't know if this community is ready for that. And she just went ahead and point blank told me, she said, but I want you to know that you're good enough.
Right.
For me, that had way more singing roles. I was completely fine. I was just I had my couple of songs and I was good.
Yeah.
But I had enough stage time that people got to see me act.
Okay. But now, see, that would have turned into a Bronx Tale.
Yeah.
Literally, just the opposite. Like she was a white woman and you were a Black Italian.
Yes.
That's interesting.
You know what I'm saying? Years later, they come out with the Bronx Tale. So you could have been that lead role. Could have been that lead role.
See, this is what in the early 90s.
That was in the mid-90s. That was 1997.
Okay.
That was 1997. So I think that at that time I could have, but she was the same age as my parents.
Yeah.
And she grew up during the civil rights. And I think she just was like, I don't know where we stand.
Yeah.
She was fine.
Yeah. Still has a little residue of that PTSD, has it worn off,
Right. Even though the movie Bronx Tale came out in 1993. So he could have played that role.
Yeah.
You could have played that role.
I could have played that role.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Broke some barriers because that's what we're doing today. So besides that, man, let's talk about like your creative entrepreneurship overall. We know that you're in the entertainment industry, but you're also Mark the jeweler. Like, so what inspired you to start a jewelry business, and how does your artistic background influence your designs?
Sure. Well, one of my a lady that I knew, she was a mentor that I used to have a few years ago, and she's in the country music industry.
Okay.
And what she always taught us was that you need to be an entrepreneur first, because she said a lot of people get so caught up in the I want to be an actor, I want to be a star, I want to be a singer, or whatever, that they forget that at the end of the day, it's a business. You are the product.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so people get frustrated when they get to Hollywood or they get to the country music stages or whatever, and then they start figuring out, oh, I feel like I'm being used. Yes, you're the product.
You're right.
Your gift, your talent.
Yeah.
So you have to be an entrepreneur first. When I did my first movie, I was sitting on the set, and I'm with some different celebrities and some different stars.
Mhm.
And when we are in between scenes, all of them are on their cell phones, calling their other businesses, checking up on how the business is going.
Okay, so right here, and it's crazy,
Huh.
man. I don't want to cut you off, but it's
Mhm.
saying that, and do you agree with this?
Mhm.
Global jewelry in the market of global jewelry is projected to reach about $480.5 billion by 2025, with a growing interest in handcrafted and unique pieces like yours.
Yes.
So you actually seen your business scale from when you first started it to now.
Yes. So what I
What?
started off doing was my heritage is we're Black Indians, amongst other
Nice.
stuff.
Okay.
So Eastern Band Cherokee people by way of Panama.
Okay.
So I started off making strictly traditional jewelry.
Okay.
And then my mother was like, I love everything that you're making for me. And she said, but I can't just go all garbed out at work.
Gotcha.
So what I did was I said, well, we're Black Indians, so let me mix in some bling. So I started something called Black Indian Bling. So it may have bones, but have a little bling mixed in with it.
Nice.
And just kind of mix things up.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And so that's what she started wearing, and people started catching on. Well, during 2020, I was just making jewelry and posting it on my social media.
Right.
And when I started doing that, I started making as much money as I was as a teacher.
Hmm.
And I was just like,
Did you promote it in the classroom?
No. Well, I wore my stuff, and I did have students who used to buy pieces off of me.
Yeah.
But the thing was, at that point, I was no longer a full-time teacher.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just sitting at home. I think I was like maybe one semester out from teaching full-time.
Mhm.
Nice.
And when I started seeing my paycheck was matching up, I was like, wait a minute. So I started diving into different things. And I went on a vacation in 2020, which I know people frowned on, but I still did it. And
Don't worry. He wore a mask.
I wore a mask. I wore a mask, several of them. And so and so I went out to Gatlinburg, and while I was on vacation, I met another gentleman who was indigenous as well.
Okay.
And I had no idea that his family was the one that started the GIA, which are the people who are the world's most leading authority on gemstones, period.
Okay.
Oh.
And so anytime that you get a diamond that says it's been GIA certified, and you get the paperwork, that's the organization.
Okay.
They are very, very the authority over any diamonds. They anytime you go to the museum, anything that you see in the Smithsonian, they are the ones that have said this is real, this is what it is, this is its value, blah blah blah. His family was the one. I didn't know that at first.
Yeah.
I became a customer, and we became good friends. And he said, "You're going to be my business partner. You're going to be the person that is over helping me." I was like, "Oh, I am." He said, "Yes." I was like, "Oh, well, that I am. I will be."
Yeah, yeah.
So that gave me an opportunity because of his connections to be able to do that, to now have access to 55,000 plus stones all over the world. I can get anything, cut any size, as long as we can get the raw material. And so that's what I do. And it opened up new doors. And he liked the fact that I had Black Indian bling because his family, he was fourth generation. He's like, I've never seen anything like that. And I am Native American. And he was like, but to add the Black to it, he said, and I see jewelry all the time, but nobody does it the way that you do it. And so, and I almost, this is,
and that's what you're wearing right now, eh?
Yes, this is, all of these beads are beads that he cut himself. And then this is an emerald from Colombia. And I said, I don't want anything but a hole drilled through it.
Yeah.
So it's just straight from the earth. And I made a bead out of it. And then made this piece. And then these diamonds that I have on are diamonds that he cut.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Diamonds are forever.
Diamonds are forever.
Forever. Yeah, wow.
That
Like,
bib, man.
I
I
know.
like that.
yeah.
I like that flow though. Black Indian bling.
Oh yeah.
Black Indian bling.
Hmm.
But
That's
I
nice.
do want to say this to anybody that's out there that thinks that your gift is too small. I almost did not show him my
Yeah.
work because I didn't think that my work could compare to his.
Mm.
Right, because he's dealing with like real diamond, like real high
Yes.
priced diamonds.
Yes.
And to me, that's crazy because nowadays it's all about being simple and unique, but yet it's all about being frugal.
And unique is the part. So when you talk about where the jewelry industry is going, it's going to go there, but it's not going to go there the traditional way that it's always been done.
So, right. So what about marriage? You still going to be the same rings? Or
yeah. So people. Well, here's the beautiful thing.
Okay.
Diamonds are traditional.
Okay.
You're always going to have your traditional audience.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the rings that we have done, one of the most beautiful rings that we have ever done, to me, has I think that centerpiece was a 6 or 7 carat. The center stone was a sapphire.
Okay.
What?
Beautiful ring.
Yeah.
And then instead of diamonds, she put she had white topaz put on the side, which mimics a diamond, but doesn't have as much rainbow, but it's still blingy and shiny and it's clear.
Yeah.
Right.
And she did that because she's Jewish.
Okay.
So she wanted the blue and the white.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I'm starting to get these brides that they want things that are unique and different and out of the box, which means that for some grooms, you may not always be paying diamond prices. You may be paying something else that may be a little bit cheaper.
Right.
But yeah.
But I'm glad, but you know, what came to my attention when you're talking about the uniqueness of the traditional way, and if we're speaking like on the black side, right? You said, you know, Black Indian bling. Most black bling, you know, in the last 20, 30 years, have just been just studded out with just ridiculous amounts of diamonds. Were real, to me, didn't have a cultural value. Like, it was really just like, okay, we're just buying it from the cat in Houston with the gold grills. We just got, but there was no, like, what you're doing has a cultural and historical kind of value to it, based off of being natives, being indigenous, instead of just putting on like T-Pain, like a big ass chain.
Well, he's just bringing that cultural essence
back to it,
right.
Instead of the traditional, I'm just gonna get diamonds, but no, but what does that mean?
Because it's like like, okay, it's like going to a Mexican restaurant almost. Like when I go there, I feel the Mexican
culture.
Essence. Yeah, the culture when I go there. Chinese, same way. You see the dragons, you see that. He's just saying, look, I'm in the diamond world, and I'm introducing you to my Black Indian side, Black American and Indian, Native American. Right. So with that, to me, it's like, let me ask you, so most of your customers, are they minorities or are they white?
We have everything. We get everything. And the beautiful part about doing custom work is when you talk to somebody and you interview them, you get to see what means something to them.
Okay.
And every culture is a little bit different. Like I have one lady, she buys cut stones from me, but she also has an appreciation, like me, for just the rough. So she may buy a cut diamond, and then she may just buy a diamond off me that just came straight out of the mine, straight off from the earth.
Yeah.
And she just wants to wrap it in some wire or some gold or something like that. She just that's all she wants.
Right.
And so that brings that aspect of it as well. Different people have an appreciation for different things.
Gotcha.
Every culture is a little bit different. And I always have people who ask me, well, can I get a stone that's going to heal me? I'm like, ma'am, I deal with all cultures. I don't know what you think is important.
Yeah.
What color would you like?
Right. Let's start it off with that.
Yeah. And you just tell me whatever it means to you. And this one lady, she was just like, she came and she wanted rose quartz because her dad died and that was supposed to heal her. I said, ma'am, you're gonna be really pissed with me if you walk out this meeting sad and upset. I said, when was your dad born? And he said, November. I said, okay, citrine, that'll make you always remember him because that's his birthstone.
Now, what's mine? I'm May 30th.
Emerald.
I'm an emerald.
Yeah.
What's about October?
I think I'm an opal or something, right?
I'm October. Opals.
You a Libra?
No, Scorpio.
What's your birthday?
October 27th.
months, 22nd. It's okay. We're still October.
Yeah. I don't know what being a Scorpio means, but I just know I know my birthstone.
Yeah.
Got you.
So,
So let's move on from that, because obviously there's a ton of questions I could ask you
Okay,
about your
sure.
jewelry business, but
Sure.
let's talk about the art of special effects.
Sure. Okay.
This plays a big part in your life. So let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
How has your journey in special effects makeup influenced your ability to connect with people? And what makes this art form unique in your interactions? Because according to a 2023 survey, 60% of people have watched special effects makeup in
Mhm.
action through media, but only 15% have seen it live.
Okay, so this is what I do.
Okay.
So when I started special effects makeup, I started from church because we used to do this big production every year, and it was angels and demons fighting, and I played a demon, and I would watch what they did to me.
Right.
I also played a pig at another one, and when I tell you they made me look like a pig, I can move my snout and everything.
oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And they were all people who had a background in the arts. And so these were people who really should have been in professional industries,
Right.
but they just happened to be at church. And so that's where I learned. So what I did was I started practicing on my kindergartners when I was a teacher,
Yeah.
because if I messed up, they weren't going to care.
Right.
And so then once I did that, I started learning the scarring, and I started getting people ask me, could they pay? Because here we have a lot of people in music.
Mhm.
We have a lot, there was a growing number of actors and actresses, but there were not a lot of people in the special effects arena. And so I was like, this is a way that I can make myself stand out. So that's what I did. And that's what actually got me into the movie industry. But how do I connect with people with that? So obviously, if you can see, if you're watching this, you can see that I have multiple skin colors, and as I told you, I am multiracial, which I have a weird skin condition where even though I'm multi-racist, the colors didn't mix, and so they kind of separate. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. I mean, that's a good way of putting it.
I tell people that all the time.
Yeah.
No, it's vitiligo. It's vitiligo.
vitiligo. Okay.
So, but what I do is I got it because my best friend passed away, and I really didn't deal with the grief. And so when you don't deal with the grief, the stress that's in your body is going to come out some way or another. And that's just how mine came out. So now I go and I do live presentations, and I'll do special effects makeup, and I'll make a wound on someone.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about what happened to this wound, and if this was real, how would you treat it? And if you didn't treat it, what would happen? And people always give a story, and we make up a story with the audience participation, and then we move into emotional scars and talk about what happens if you don't take care of yourself. And then I give my testimony and my story. And so I've done it, it's been filmed, I've gone places, prisons, jails, all kinds of places. And I do it with my students usually once a year. When I was teaching, and that's also how I taught my colors to my students as well, was through the makeup colors, and then I would give my story at the same time. So it's been a very, very, very powerful part of my journey in connecting with people. They never, ever, ever forget it because it's so visual.
See,
and that's like okay. So special effects. First of all, special effects, makeup people at the original filters, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? Those are the originators. You know what I'm saying? But on when it comes to that, like how with new technology in movies and stuff now, where they're using like CGI for different monsters or beings and stuff. Back in the 80s, like the makeup artists were really appreciated then, and those people look real, from zombies, from Thriller, and all that stuff like that. Like, do you still see that as, being a makeup artist, is that like, you feel like it's more, still appreciated now that all this other technology can just
like digital makeup?
Yeah, like digital,
right,
you know what I'm saying?
So it's that we use both.
Okay.
So let's just say that I have somebody that needs a gunshot wound. They need for me to make, they can use the CGI and the special effects to show the blood splatter when it first happened.
Okay.
But after that, let's just say that after you've seen the splatter happen, you want to do a close-up, you need to still see the wound.
Right.
Okay.
So then I'll come and I'll do the wound
on a close-up
that's there and do the close-up stuff.
Gotcha.
Or sometimes they want to see the blood running or things of that nature. Then you also have the live performances. So it's funny. People ask me, well, when are your busy season? Everybody knows October because it's, Halloween.
Yeah.
But what they don't think about is I live in the South, the Bible Belt.
Mhm.
Everybody needs their Jesus is crucified.
Right.
So
the passion of the Christ.
Passion of the
Right.
Christ, and they want it live,
Yeah.
which is a huge experience to see it live. So that's my other business, and that you can't use CGI because it's
Right.
live.
Right.
So both.
Do you
That's
feel that
dope.
when people see it live, they have a different perspective?
Oh yeah, because it's one thing to watch it on film and be like, oh, that's so cool how they did that. It's another thing when you're watching it and you see the way that I do it and some other artists do it. You see the wounds opening and closing, like on his rib cage when he's
Oh.
breathing. You see it. It's
Oh, you
moving
kinda
with
like
his
that.
skin.
Oh, okay.
It's moving with his skin. We create new skin, and it's moving with his body.
Now, is the skin made of latex or like
We do that, or we can use scar wax. Either one.
scar wax?
Scar
Okay,
wax.
so
Either
y'all
one.
evolved from because latex. A lot of people have many
That's crazy.
allergies.
Yeah.
Or when it
Now
comes
I
to-
like for television, I like to use the scar wax, but for live production, I prefer the latex.
Why not? Why do you prefer the latex?
Because you want your audience that's sitting out there at the live show to get the same experience that you get in television. And in television, you have to make everything flush perfectly to the skin so that it just looks seamless and natural. Versus with the latex, I can make the wounds a little bit bigger and larger so that from the back of the audience, you can see it just like you would if you were watching the film and it was up close. So I make it a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more detailed.
That's a
that
lot
way.
of work. I was saying, just listening to you, especially for makeup artists, man. 'Cause you think about, I know we've done short films and stuff like that, and we have a lot of cuts, this and that. We didn't really have. We had a makeup artist on deck, but like not like what you're doing. But I'm just
Right.
imagining so many cuts and breaks because I'm pretty sure you've done things where you show where maybe the wound is healing over time or something, or
Yes.
you know what I mean.
Yes.
So we got to get close up to that. Take the old one off, and now we got to put the healing one on and stuff. Like I can imagine you just being on the.
Yep.
Yeah. So let me ask you something
Go
though.
ahead.
So, when you go out in the real world and look at people, do they inspire the way you place makeup on people? Because certain scars, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yep.
his mind is going to be different.
I
learned that from my chiropractor. It's funny. The story is that she says I go in the park, I sit on a park bench, and I watch people walk. And she says he walks. Yeah, he leans this way. He said, he leans to the right. He needs to be adjusted like this. I said, why do you do that? She says, I don't know. It's like a habit. It's like with nurses' veins. Like
yes,
certain
my
things.
sister's a nurse. She
Yes.
picked out all my veins.
See, right. And for you, because social media has made everybody insecure. It seems like,
I agree.
You agree with that, right?
Yeah.
And to me, in your head, are you like processing filters as a makeup artist? Like when you look at somebody, it's like, I could make you.
Yes, because you can look at certain bone structures on people,
Right.
and you know what they're going to look like or what you could do with their face. So someone who has a chiseled face, like a man that just got a man's got a good cheek bone structure and chiseled face, you can make them look a lot crazier, a lot cooler, because there's just a lot you can do with them. Versus a round face, it's a little bit more work.
Yeah.
But you can show like the cheekbones, and you can do shadowing. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. And then sometimes too, like I have a friend of mine who introduced me to a friend that is an actor, and he's bald. And I was like, I can cut the back of his head open.
Really? That's how you do this?
So what would you do with him?
Yeah.
I could take his head and I could split it. Like he could be like, you could be looking at him and his face and just see a regular face, but then when you turn around the back, it looks like his whole head is split open.
Dang.
And so,
and that's the benefit of being bald. Like, it's just easier. You ain't got to cut my hair
because you don't have to cut the hair. You don't have to like.
I feel you.
So yeah, like, and I did have an actor one time. He still to this day has a ton of hair, but he shaved off half of his hair, and we cut his skull open, and then burned half of his head and his face every single night for about 2 weeks. And for live performance. But he's got to go back and shave his hair,
all the
every
time.
few days. And but like, if somebody's already bald, it's just good clean skin. You can just go ahead and go in there, and it's just easy stuff.
That's a good comeback for that. I like that positive outtake on that. It's already cut, it's already clean. You feel
But
what
I'm gonna put a hole in your head.
But you gotta put a hole in your head though. It's okay.
So let's move on from that, man. I love these stories, man. Me and you could just talk all day about that. Like, I love horror films, so that right there, we can go back and forth on that one. I love it. So let's talk about like your role as a franchisee at the Apex. Like, what is Apex?
So Apex is it's a leadership fundraising company that has a focus on health, and they go into schools and they teach kids about leadership and about really just about controlling, your environment and being positive towards yourself and to others.
Gotcha.
And then they also have a fundraising component to it, which is a fun run. So the entire time that kids are learning about leadership, and they're also doing exercise leading up to it. So all of the people that you hire are athletes in some shape, form, or fashion.
Okay.
They're either athletes or former athletes, but they also learn about leadership so they can go in and use what they've done in leadership and sports to also teach leadership skills to the students that they work with. And at the end, we have a big fundraiser, and we raise money through running and sports. Being athletic and being active. And so, yeah.
How do they utilize like your background, your entertainment background, or just your overall business background, special effects, makeup background? How do they use that to their advantage?
So I no longer do it, but when I did it though, when I had that company though, our opening ceremony, I'm a former gymnast, as I said earlier. So I used to bring in a trampoline, and that was my intro. I ran in and I did a flip off of it, and I would land, which my mom was like, "Are you sure at this age?" I'm like, "Jackie Chan." Jackie Chan. I said, "We're holding on to it as long as we can." And so I ran in and I would do my flip off the trampoline, and the other athletes would come in, and we had the lights and the music, and sometimes we may have like smoke machine. So it was a whole show, really, just getting the kids amped up about what was about to take place over the next 2 weeks.
Wow,
that's dope, man. It's kind of like their own Olympic Games at that time or something.
Yeah.
So they say though, schools in the U.S. they raise what $800 million annually through fundraising events. I didn't know that. With a 15% increase in tech-based fundraisers.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about technology. Like, how does Apex play into technology?
So each kid, we had an app. We had an app, and then we had a website, and each kid was given a code. And that a code allowed them to have access to their quote unquote back office. If you've ever done multi-level marketing before, you know that every person is given a back office to the website, and that's exactly what we did with the kids. They had access to their own website.
Gotcha.
And the parents as well. And through that, they could just plug in telephone numbers or email addresses, and they could send out things. So in the past, your fundraising was basically confined to who was in your community. And so at that point, you got everybody competing for the same people. Versus technology allows you, if your grandmother in Mexico or the Dominican Republic or Nigeria or whatever wants to donate towards your cause, she can do it. From the other side of the globe. It allows you to go global and raising money for your school versus just working on your own, little community.
Right. Knocking on the same doors and,
selling chocolate.
Yeah. And really the rule in fundraising is this: the person who gets to you first to pull your heartstrings wins.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's why anybody that is not utilizing, like, if you do a fundraising activity and it's a live auction thing, that's one thing. That's the people that are in that room. It may be a targeted audience. But if you're doing something that is not a one night, just targeted audiences for anybody that wants to donate money, if you're not utilizing technology, someone will get to you before someone else that you know.
Yeah.
And so then by the time that this other person that you may be closer to gets to you, you're like, well, I already donated.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because somebody used their technology. That's why things like GoFundMe are so big. Anything that uses the technology.
Wow. It's that right there. It reminds me of like a modernized version of the Cold War. The war of technology. Like, how can I get to this person first before he gets to this person? And it's crazy because technology plays a big part in our life.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to communication.
Yeah.
But like, I still see people selling chocolates, you know, outside of Walmart. And girls selling Girl Scout cookies, which you have a story, like you told us off camera. Like, please share that. Like,
well, the Girl Scouts, they've upped their game. The Girl Scouts have figured this out. So my niece, she was a first-year Girl Scout. She sold cookies.
Okay.
She did, I think, over... It was well over $4,000 worth of cookies that she sold.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And what she did was, first off, stories sell facts. No, facts tell, stories sell. So if you just say, hey, I'm selling cookies, help me out, that's just telling.
Yeah, yeah.
She, not even meaning to do anything, she made a video, and she loves feeding the homeless. She feeds the homeless every Tuesday with my parents.
Nice.
And she said, buy my cookies. She said, either for you or I'm going to give a box of cookies to every homeless person that I feed food.
Yeah,
What a way to pull that
So
leverage.
so she did that, and people just started from all over the country.
Yeah.
She her parents posted a video. I reposted the video on my social media, and the Girl Scouts have links now where you can just click on a link, and from anywhere in the world, go straight to their account.
Yeah.
And you can order whatever cookies you want, and then you can say where you want the cookies shipped to.
Oh,
and so, like, they have just, upped their game. And to add what my niece did as well, it just shows that it works. It was like the perfect blend of using technology, business strategy, as far as like telling your story and your why, sharing your why you do what you do.
Yeah.
And then that person to person, which was, when we shared it, what she said, how people got involved. And I mean, like, it just...
So what do you think? What do you think the pros and cons? Because I'm listening, because you were talking about, in some cases, you may have tried to sell some cookies and stuff like that to somebody that may already bought some. You're knocking on the door, but then they done got it online. You know what I'm saying? Now, being that I always call like being online and stuff like that, it's like a gift and a curse, because when everybody starts doing it, then that whole social media marketing thing, it's like, yeah, I mean, your outreach will be pretty good, but now you have to really kind of like you have to knuckle down like on the demographics or case, because you could run across the same advertisement to sell some cookies that somebody else was doing it. Like, what's the, do you feel like it's going to be saturated after a while once they learn
that
how
method
to advertise that way?
Well,
with that method,
your why, the person with the best why always wins.
That's true.
So it's just the best. So it's just survival of the fittest on that part.
Yeah, it's the same way. It's the same reason why Publix costs more money to shop at than Kroger's or Walmart. But people will go to a Publix because of the way that they greet you.
That is true.
That's a fact.
You used to work there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Put that out there. Put that out there.
I love that job, man. Shout out to Publix, man. Y'all treated me good, man.
Right. The public service, or even a Chick-fil-A, they don't have a dollar menu. But people love to go to Chick-fil-A.
I never thought about that.
Because of the way that they...
I never thought about going to Chick-fil-A seeking a dollar menu.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy, right?
It is.
Right.
You will pay...
Right.
What you owe there, like,
yeah, exactly. You're
fine with that. It'll be $11.99 for a 3-piece tender.
Yeah, and you're completely okay. But the way that they sell their why, which is customer service,
right,
and making sure that you feel valued, have a small VIP experience. when you go there unintentionally, just the way that they always treat you.
Right.
And it could be the same little teenager that just cussed somebody out in class, but they got a job there. Hi, welcome.
Oh yeah, different.
Yeah, it's like, I know who you really are.
Right, yeah. Because they train their people how to treat their customers.
Right.
And so like when you're online, if you sell your why, even when I sell my jewelry, I could probably count on both hands how many times I've actually put a price. I tell the story behind the piece. People connect emotionally, and then they purchase.
That's what happens online.
See, and his right. The fundraisers, GoFundMe and stuff. Like, so let me ask you, like, when it comes to like today's time, I feel a lot of us today lack customer service. And it's people seek out that nowadays. You go to Publix and you go to Chick-fil-A, right?
Right.
And to me, I love their training methods. Now, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. Okay, I don't know if we're doing jumping jacks going through boot camp. I don't know any of that. But all I know is that they're training their people to function and create value for themselves in today's society because we lack customer service. I like, for real, like, you know, you got Kroger's, you got Publix. I go to Kroger's because it's close.
Yeah.
But Publix has a cleaner environment. Like, I don't know, when I go in there, I just want to sniff the air.
And you actually don't mind using the bathroom there.
Oh yeah, them bathrooms are clean.
And sit
I ain't
down.
never been to a dirty Publix bathroom.
Yeah.
Kroger's, it's a hit or miss.
Yeah.
It's a hit or miss. But
Literally.
like literally, let's okay, that's cool, man. So let's talk about, like, since we're on the whole cultural aspect and breaking boundaries and things. I'm gonna skip down to, like, let's talk about your experience with Miss Africa.
Okay.
Like what was your most memorable experience serving as an ambassador for Miss Africa USA?
And I didn't know you could do that.
Right. And how did it contribute to your professional and personal growth?
Okay, sure. So what happened was Kathy Anwu. For anyone that's local in this area, you probably know who Kathy is. We grew up together a little bit, and then kind of reconnected. And I remember her as a little girl. Then I saw her as a woman. I was like, oh my gosh, like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, she was like
strong. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yes.
Gorgeous. She's gorgeous if you've ever seen her before. And so she became this Miss Nigeria, and then there's Miss Nigeria to the USA. So every country in Africa has their beauty queen. And then on the state side, that country has a beauty queen that represents that country plus the USA. And their goal is to be able to merge and bring unity from their citizens that live on this side of the pond and those that live on this side.
Gotcha.
And then they have a Miss Africa for the continent, and then they have like a Miss Africa to the United States.
Okay.
So her family background is she's Nigerian.
Got you.
And she became Miss Nigeria to the USA, and then she became Miss Africa to the USA. She won that competition as well. And so we had a conversation, and we were just sitting there talking, and I realized, I was like, well, who does your PR? And she was like, oh, I don't have anybody. And she had a very, very, very strong platform. Her platform was for women's health because her mother died while she was in college from breast cancer. And then women's education. Kathy's a very educated woman, and she believes in that and wants to make sure that, anybody, but especially, females,
yes,
gets a good education, which in Africa, no matter where you are, you have to pay for your education, even in the public school system. The parents have to pay. So every public school is basically like getting a private school education in a way.
Yeah.
And so that was her platform. So I used to be a spokesperson for the Boy Scouts of America when I was a kid, like my late teens, going into my early 20s. So I was accustomed to, working with celebrities and being in the spotlight and television interviews. And we always had a PR lady there who would coach me and tell me, you say this, you don't say this. You look at the camera this way, blah, 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 blah. And so I said, well, I know how to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
I said, do you want me to do that for you? And she was like, yes. And so she was like, you just be my ambassador. So that's what...
You use your acting experience.
Yeah, and use my acting experience and my experience as a spokesperson to help her. And so I started like booking appointments for her And then I would be there and say, okay, we're going to say this. We're not going to say this.
Yeah.
Some stuff happened in Nigeria. I can't remember exactly what it was. Some type of drama they had going on. And so I just call News Channel 5 and all the other stations like, hey, this is making the headline. Did you know that Miss Nigeria USA or Miss Africa USA, that she lives here? And they were like, oh. So, they interviewed her and I found a location, public appearances. And still to this day, my parents and their church, shout out to Bethel, Missionary Baptist Church, they still support financially to help kids go to school.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking
So
Yeah.
it was this many years later, and the work is still being done, and Kathy's still a nurse.
Yeah.
So, and she's still using her platform.
See, and I like
dope.
how it's for, although she wants to help the Black community, she's focused on more Black women, right? And that's okay because I usually have these talks with people like, it's okay for us to have barbershops and it's okay for them to have beauty salons, right? Just to talk and, relate to amongst themselves.
Yeah.
And I've always felt that, like, sometimes we're pressured to work together sometimes.
Yeah.
We'll come together. Like, if he's hosting an event, that's where we come together. It's like with Josh from Clean Cut Conversation,
Yeah.
a doctor from this person, right?
Yeah.
So he knows that he's getting two perspectives, strong perspectives. Like, to me, I feel like sometimes I love to unite each other, right? But sometimes I feel that we can get lost in our own values too. And we start creating conflict.
Right.
And sometimes it's like, just go start your own. And I respect that.
Yeah.
She helps us, but her main target is women.
But helping Black women is helping Black men too.
Exactly. We all work together. And that's what, right.
Yeah.
Like, father roles, it's important. I do think it's important for a father to be in, especially a boy's life, and vice versa, a daughter and a mother, you know what I'm saying? Vice versa. That balance, that structure. But like, yeah, man, just building up her women that she, to me, puts me at ease.
Yeah.
As a male, I'm like, shoot, I like the way she thinks, man. I might have to go over and check,
Right.
because their ideals match up with mine. And that's why we created this podcast, is because of that type of concept. Like, we bring on Black males, empowering Black males, and sometimes, like, I want the feeling when you watch this show, to feel like you watch Black Panther for the first time. Everybody was working. Everybody came, and we were like, "Yeah, that's us. That's us. That's what we could be. That's what we are." And that's what I'm saying. I love, like, how you stepped in her realm. You know what I'm saying? And you still empowered her, but then I think you empowered us too.
Right.
I felt that story is like you found value in what she needed, and she said, "Oh, you are valuable." And even though I'm going helping women, like, look, like, I'm gonna have a man do this for me. Because you would think that it would be all women helping women, PRing and stuff like that. But you really, like, supported her cause. And like I said, I appreciate you for that. For real, we need that. And like him, you're a youth leader too, kind of. Innocent. Yeah. See, and all that, man, like, so, like, let's talk about that, like, the challenges, like, of you being a youth leader and being involved in the community. Like, what are the challenges that you have faced when trying to do community work? And how do you utilize those experiences to inspire and motivate others? Because it said over 50% of community leaders report facing significant obstacles in their efforts. So, such as funding and engagement and resilience. She wasn't resilient against you working for her. But I know you brought, how can I say, Royce, like, you brought the opportunity to her. And was she hesitant at first? Like,
no, she was not hesitant at all. There were supposed to be some other people that were assisting her. And they just didn't come through.
Oh my!
And so she was just like, I put in all this work because I have a platform. I didn't do it just to be pretty.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And just to model and just to be known.
Got you.
She had a real platform.
Yeah.
And so she needed to get her message out there. And so it just opened up a door. I was working with kids at the time, or I was working with youth at the time. And then I had, my background as a performer and an entertainer, and then I had been the spokesperson for the Boy Scouts, was familiar with the PR.
Got
I
you.
knew how to call people, make those calls to open doors. So, and we had a relationship with each other from childhood. So
Mm.
it just clicked and it
You
worked,
want to share
and
your
we
story?
and I was
Well,
just like, okay,
join
why
us
not
at
help?
Clean Cut
Mm.
Conversations.
And we just made it
Let's talk
happen
mental health,
with or without
relationships,
those people.
finance, self-care,
That was just both of
entrepreneurship.
our
Your voice
mindset
matters,
was,
so let's
you're
make
not
a
going to do what you're
difference
supposed to
together.
do.
Yeah.
We're just going to do it regardless.
And I hate to ask this, excuse me,
Mhm.
but were they women?
Some of them were.
So it's like, okay, you
Mhm.
had this scenario. I'm gonna
Of
throw his
course.
scenario.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he threw an event, right?
Mhm.
Juneteenth, right? His
First one,
problem
yeah.
is that he didn't get support from his own people, right? Financial support from Black people, because it's Juneteenth,
Mhm.
And let me ask you, bro, did you
Mhm.
feel some type of way when white
Oh.
people? Like, I'm just
I know I did. Yeah,
okay.
I felt some type of way when the Caucasians were. I was accepting of their generosity.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They're very generous. You know what I mean? But also, it was almost like a. I was caught between the middle because I'm like, I would really love this from my Black community to pitch in,
Mhm.
because it's not being city funded. This is grassroots. Like I was like telling them a little bit behind camera, like grassroots money that's coming out of our pockets.
Go
Right.
But
ahead.
we saw Caucasians that were contributing most of the time without even being asked, or after we present what we need, it's just like, sure, you know what I mean? And it just kind of put me in a place like, well, why can't we do that as Black people?
So you went on with the
I
program,
went on with it.
but you still felt
Felt
like
weird.
dang,
Like, man,
it's
this is
Right.
funded
you're right.
by the majority of people that are not even in my culture.
Right.
And hers
Right.
was women,
Mhm.
women platform,
Right.
women get together, but then it's like, I guess I just gotta get it done.
Mhm.
It comes to the point where
Right.
you kind of break your morals and break your foundation.
I don't even say you have to break your morals. I just think you get to the point where it's just like your why becomes stronger than your obstacles. And it's just like, I had to figure out how to do this and how to make this happen. I did it all the time as a teacher,
Mhm.
Right.
I did it when I was a counselor one time for juveniles. I used to have to do it all the time. I always had to just figure out how to make this possible and how to let's move forward. Let's just go ahead and let's move forward. I can even think about, I was telling him
Right.
that I had figured out, kept telling people I'm going to use gemstones one day as a way to generate funds
Mm.
for worthy causes.
Yeah.
And I remember someone, a multimillionaire, telling me, well, just let me know when that happens, blah, 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 blah. By the time that I told him, he didn't know that I'd already done it.
Got you.
Mm.
Got you.
Gotcha.
One time, but that's all it
Mhm.
takes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
That's all
is
it
one
takes
time.
is one time to know that you can continue to do it. And so sometimes those challenges become the fire
Mhm.
that kind of get you going, to keep going and keep, it's your motivation sometimes,
Mm.
to go ahead and to do something. But yeah, it can be a little bit disappointing, especially if your challenge is coming from the inside circle,
Yeah.
not the outside. You expect
Right.
sometimes the outside circle, but when it's your inside circle, that's when it gets to be a little bit frustrating.
Very frustrating.
Man, so man, let's go ahead and wrap this up. So, like, we've discussed topics like creative pursuits in your special effects. We've
Mhm.
talked about the jewelry business, community support through Apex, and apparently the importance of multicultural engagement. Like using technology and not using technology, just using good old customer service,
Correct.
answering the whys or using the why method. I say the why
Mhm.
technique to sell yourself to
Mhm.
others so you can be more involved and more engaged with others,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody has to have a selling point.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You when you go out in that world, you have to sell. You have to sell yourself. You have to sell your brand.
Mhm.
And you have to understand that you have to convince people to not only fund you, but to be honest, to like you.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's like putting on a show. But those are the key points we discussed today. But like, let me ask you, like, to conclude all of this, like, how would you conclude it, and what would you tell an upcoming entrepreneur?
I would say to any entrepreneur that's out there, you have to understand that failure is a part of the plan. Like, you're going to mess up. And that's one thing that I didn't understand. I did not know that in the beginning. But once you get into a room full of what you would consider extremely successful people, they've made their millions, and they, your yearly dream is their monthly income. They will tell you that it's a part of it, and it is a normal part of it, and you just have to work through it. You can either learn from it or you can quit. And this is just mandatory. The other thing that I'm going to say too is, like we're all given God-given gifts and talents. You can either be who you were created to be, or you can try to be somebody else, and it's not going to work in your favor as well to be somebody else. I'm going to also let you know that when you get ready to start, people will not understand you, and the majority of those people who don't understand you will be people who you are closest to, because how people meet you and what light in which they meet you in is typically the only way that they see you. Just like me being a teacher, and then going into the movie industry and doing models. I never showed my chest in the classroom.
Right.
I didn't wear rhinestone shoes and and all that stuff. People are like, whoa, now they're used to it.
Right.
But making that transition or whatever, people in your first circle, or even going into the jewelry industry, they were okay. We know you do bones and traditional work, but diamonds, like that was a huge thing. So, but you will find that you do have a support system. You just have to leave the room that you're standing in and go to another room, and there'll be people that you don't even know, and they will sometimes jump on board faster than the people that you know. And so you can't up and quit. Just get into another room. Just get into another room, and it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to want to leave, but you have to make that your new normal.
Boom.
That's real.
I don't have nothing to say to that.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I mean, no, just to repeat on that. That's just like, it's going to be uncomfortable. That's it. And what you said, what you said about failure, you might as well be ready for that, because a lot of us, especially in our culture, we want to see things done overnight. Man, I want this right now. Only thing that might be overnight is betting on FanDuel. That's about it. You might get lucky. But in real life, no, that's real talk, man. That hits hard too, because just experiencing that myself, of being frustrated with the failures, but then really the way that I'm overcoming that is at accepting it, because I wasn't accepting it before. I was just like, man, dang, done messed up again, man. I quit. What I mean?
Right.
No, we appreciate that message, man. We appreciate you coming here, real talk.
Yeah, man. And for me, like, failure is an option for me.
That's real.
And when I mean to say that, like, when I was going through my weight loss journey and workout journey, like, I didn't realize when you go into the gym, I think I've seen you in the gym, like,
Ghosts.
right. Technically, when you go work out, you are breaking down yourself to failure. If you want results, you almost have to go to failure.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And I utilize that mindset in my business. Is because you have to push that band, that rubber band sometimes. It looks like it's getting white a little bit as you stretch it.
Right.
But sometimes it may pop, but then it may not. But the key is, after you push yourself, from that point on, it feels like you have reached a new level. I feel like Goku off of Dragon Ball. You see how he gets beat up?
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, a Saiyan gets stronger after he gets beat up within an inch of his life. And I feel that when it comes to business, you have to put your all out there. And then if you fail, all you could do is backtrack and say, all right, I've already went as far as I could in that direction. Let's move to another room. You actually have more confidence going into that room, because it's like, well, I can only fall as far as the floor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Mario games, Nintendo, Super Mario, them levels. You said something about the rubber band. That's cool. The more you stretch that rubber band, right, you change the shape of it, because you kept pulling, you kept stretching, going, trying to get to that limit.
Yeah.
If you don't mess with the rubber band enough, it's gonna stay in that same shape. So that white spot you're talking about is really progress. it's not as hard to stretch that rubber band anymore because you've already pulled through it, you know. So, man, this made me want to use the bathroom, man.
Don't use the bathroom on this couch.
got me riled up.
In gymnastics, they used to celebrate when I was being trained, not when I was a trainer, but when I was being trained, they used to celebrate your pain. And I remember the first time, I didn't know what a rip was, but when you're doing the bars, your hands, sometimes you will rip literally about 1 inch or 2 inches of your skin off. And the first time it happened, I'm out there hollering, trying not to cuss, and like I'm in pain. And my coach and the whole gym was screaming and yelling, Marcus got his first rip. Yeah. And the crowd was just like, what? And then I learned that the pain was a part of the process in gymnastics. And every time that somebody got a new rip, the whole gym cheered, stopped, and cheered.
Well, speaking of ripping, we're about to rip ourselves out of here.
Let's get it.
Let's get it, man. Thank y'all for enjoying the show. You know, Clean Cut Conversations, the podcast for exceptional Southern Black men. I'm your host, Josh Lovett, with my co-host,
James Royce Masson Gill.
And we thank our special guest, Mr. Marcus Lucas, the second, right?
The second.
Well, thank you for coming in here, and we are out.
Thank you all.
Good stuff.